Let's get into it. Masters. Zenyatta. Also, can we solve a debate right now, chat? Is it Masters or Master? Is it with the S or without the S? Because we had this debate, and I honestly didn't know. Masters? Is it Masters or Master? Which one is it? Whatever option wins this poll will be used forever. This is the deciding vote. Did I bias it by writing it with an S? Wow, this is way closer than I thought it was. I guess it's Masters. Neat. It's been settled. From now on, it is Masters. It's Masters. Okay, let's take a look, guys. Hopefully the VOD audio quality is good. Nice. Okay.
5, 4, 3.
Oh, yeah, I just passed it. There's the nice composition you got rolling. You got a Zenyatta and a Ana. So this is actually pretty decent. Anytime that you're running this sort of support combination right here is you're going to be wanting abuse really, really long sight lines. And then you've got McCree as one of your DPS. So he's probably going to be wanting to play more with your Ana and your Zenyatta. So like, you know, Zenyatta himself is diveable, McCree is diveable, Ana is diveable, but together... you know, it's not 3 times as hard as diving each one individually. It becomes way harder because they can support each other. So yeah, I would like to see McCree playing with the Ana Zenyatta, or at least being somewhat near to support. However, especially if you're playing on Anubis defense, for example, you could position, instead of putting the McCree with the Ana Zenyatta, which you would do if you didn't have really long sightlines. But when you do have really long sight lines, you can kind of stay in positions where it is extremely difficult for anyone to dive or flank you. So, for example, if you are holding on the top left by the Mega, which I think you are, this McCree doesn't actually need to be near you. On the second point, if you stay this composition, since you lose the long sight lines, I definitely have McCree stay near you. But on this first point, if you're holding up, which I think is this area, then, you know, the McCree could play... you know, more frontline. However, it's an interesting pick here. You know, a good defense against Pharah, but weak against Widowmaker. If the enemy does go Widowmaker, you've got 3 characters that are gonna feel a little bit of pressure from the enemy Widowmaker. Standard dive tank compositions, and then your, you know, the standard go-to tracer. So decent composition, and I think you are gonna be positioning in a decent location to start this match. But let's take a look.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Yeah, so good. The
Defend
McCree is playing with
objective
you.
A.
I like it. You're moving into a position to get right clicks, I assume? I don't know why the D.Va boosted back here.
Hold up now.
Yeah, so it's no real problem here that you're not being able to actually see the opponent, because in this location where they pushed up into staircase, if you were to actually be contributing any damage with your orbs, you would be in a dangerous location yourself. So it's just a VOD loud? Why is it so loud? Oop, that's the wrong button. Is that better? Apologies, chat. Hopefully that's a nicer volume for you. Still too loud? Really? What about this? Is this better? Okay. we'll make it just a little bit quieter. Nice. Apologies for that. The audio mixing on these VODs is always slightly different from one another. Whew, and rocketed. So, unfortunately, your team, like, you didn't get a lot of value out of your orb there, because your team took a fight in a very closed location where you couldn't get a lot of value out of it. So, there's not a lot you could do there. You know, you did what you could. You had a harmony on things, but your team didn't play in a way that actually took advantage of your Discord. And because you're not using your comms, well, there's not a lot that you could have done about that except using comms. Can you actually fire through that? You can fire through this crack. I don't think you can fire through that very center crack in the boxes. Now here, I'm not sure where your Ana is, but I'm going to assume she's back left, but you haven't looked to see where your Ana is, and you're kind of you're positioning on the point, which is very exposed here. Transcendence soldier, which is fine. He's alive.
Winston 1.
Oh, so you are using comms. You said Winston 1 here.
Winston say 1. Winnable, guys. Okay, he ulted.
So you finally started using comms. It's a little bit late into that, and it definitely seems like this is going to be one of those games where your team is just... It just appears to me like your team is outclassed.
Winston Killable, behind you.
For some reason. Is your Ana still on Ana, or did she switch? Because I think you're solo healing Zen right now, because you had a Sombra, didn't you? Yeah, you've got a Sombra now, so I think you're solo healing on Zenyatta, which is giving you literally no sustain at all. So, like, you're not going to be able to get value out of Discord because your tanks have no healing. And McCree's doing great work. He's obviously farming up his high noons really quickly. But I'm pretty sure you're solo healing Zen here. So is this just an awareness thing? Like, the Ana did not tell anyone that she was switching. But I'm not sure if you've noticed or not. And you do have another Transcendence without dying. So, like, you're positioned well enough. And...
needed that. Fuck my life.
I'm glad you noticed it as well, but it's unfortunate that you farmed it up just in the time you did to use it and waste it. So, he called out the Discords before? Yeah, like, he's... If you are going to be calling Discords, you need to be way more forceful. And, you know, there's a couple different ways to call Discords. You can call Discord on something before your tanks dive it, but after your tank's on something, then the only Discord that really matters is going to be the one that your tanks are on, because if your tanks dive something left and you Discord something right, even if you call it out, there's nothing that your tanks can do. They can't just immediately disengage from whatever the hell they dove on. So, kind of like post-facto Discord calls aren't helping anyone. Isn't solo healing on Zen basically just a riskier version of dive? You're giving up the bodyguard for the Zen in exchange for Sombra. It's not just that. Your tanks... Like, in solo queue, it's not going to work, right? Your tanks aren't doing efficient dives. You know, they're more or less going to be fighting the enemy tank. So even in Masters, where both teams run Winston and D.Va, it usually comes down to which tank has more support. Because, you know, you don't have the coordination to really, truly do a backline dive. And unless you work it out on comm, say, hey, we're diving Zen back right, we're going to start, we're going to hop the box, okay, we're going to go in 3, 2, 1. Unless you handhold your team in the solo queue, you're not going to get a coordinated backline dive, which is one of the reasons why Mercy and Moira is actually such a successful healer composition in Platinum, because even if both teams are running Plat, like the tanks themselves, even if they are Winston, D.Va, and extremely weak tanks, at least against other tanks, they'll still just survive way longer here. So, especially where you're not getting farm from the Sombra pack, and I'm not sure if your team, it certainly wasn't communicated to your team that they should be farming Mega. Like, even if this was old Sombra, even if it was the Sombra that you could farm packs off of and get EMP every fight, it would still be very substandard, because your healing orb only does 30 HP per second, and your tanks are not going to survive off that.
I'm gonna be close to another May ult again. If you might close here.
I like that your account name is Healer to top 500. I appreciate that.
Okay. I'm just calling May here.
I actually have... Oh, no. Well... I don't think I've done Healer only to top 500. I guess I flexed on the account that hit top 500. Oh, no. No, my Healbot account did get... My Healbot account hit like 4290 or something, which I guess was top 500 at the time. Ending in top 500 as Healer only? That'd be pretty cool. I'd like to do that someday. Yeah, so like your Winston does actually go to the Mega, but he was just standing on the point spamming for healing. You gave him Harmony, and then he went for the Mega, so there's definitely some miscommunication between your team here. And you're taking a very aggressive position here. Like, if you think about where would you retreat from this location, right? Where would you retreat? Would you retreat to the right? Would you retreat to the left? If there was a Widowmaker up here or on the high ground on the left, you'd not be able to take cover for a pretty significant amount of time. So this position itself is rather exposed. Now, what I like about your team is that they're holding really far up, and you just recently wasted your Transcendence, right? So if you, instead of kind of holding down the point, because if anybody does get on the point and kind of force you to retreat, it should be your Diva coming back. But especially with Tracer Sombra becoming more prevalent, if the Zenyatta is the one holding down the objective while the rest of the team is pushed up in either a forward hold or an effort to farm back their ultimates, if Tracer and Sombra flank onto the point, they're going to take you out. So normally you send either a self-sufficient DPS back to the point or a Diva back to the point, which is also, again, if you're trying to prevent a C9, while normally you either have a Diva just standing on the point or a Zen nearby in hiding, keeping an eye out. So if somebody tries to push it, just one right click, he's dead. But here, your primary job is going to be charge up this Transcendence as quickly as possible. So you're playing it safe, but not safe enough. Because if you did want to play safe, you'd be wanting to, first of all, not hold on the right. You'd want to be holding over by the box. There's really only one location. This hacked Mega, it does not provide, this is not a retreat route, because you'd have to go forward. So really the only location for you to hold as a healer is going to be this back left. However, you wasted your Transcendence, so you need to get this back as soon as possible. So you should be back up with your team. You know, if you get picked at these doors here, it's not really that bad of a thing, because your spawn advantage is so massive that even if you get picked here, they'll still take time to get onto the point. Like, yes, they could snowball it, but especially being up here, it's pretty much, it's low risk, low reward of sitting back on the point, making sure you don't die, but almost just the rate of charge is really low on your Transcendence. Or you could go up to the choke during their regroup point, and you know those like 2 doors over there by the spawn? That's a perfect sightline for Zen to just launch right clicks into. Even if you only get 6% of your ult charge. You know, what happens if you died 99% to your ultimate? And I'm sure you can remember at least one instance in recent memory where you died at like 98% to your ultimate, and if you just had it, you would have won that fight. So you should fight tooth and nail for every little scrap of ult charge you can get, especially on Zenyatta, when your Transcendence is going to be more often than not part of your team's win condition, even when you're not on 2CP. So we're talking about 2CP defense. Your Zenyatta, your solo healer Zenyatta, your left clicks, your right clicks, your discords, your harmonies, none of that bullshit is actually going to matter in terms of winning fights, winning the map. What is going to matter is how many Transcendences you can charge and farm. So I'd like to see you playing up at this choke, farming these sight lines during the regroups, getting that Transcendence back as fast as fucking possible.
You are discorded. Looks like they're going left side. Lucio's discorded. Lucio on point.
Nice shot.
Oh god, down. You got me in spawn, sorry.
Yeah, if you had been in
I'm really close to
location, he wouldn't have killed you.
Trying to survive. Stall this point out. Big diva.
Adversity is an opportunity for change.
If you want to find my old VOD reviews, you can either look at my videos section, which is up there, or we edit them and upload them to YouTube. So hit !YouTube, and you can check the list of VODs that have been edited so far on the YouTube channel. Yeah, like here, like, what's the point of being here? Just fucking walk forward 10 feet and actually aim your goddamn shots. You're trying to be tricky when you don't need to be. At least you've got a new Transcendence. Let's see how you fuck this one up. And by default, I would like to see your Harmony sitting on your main tank. Come on, Diva.
Did you make that Diva?
Is the plan to put all VOD reviews on YouTube? Not the old ones, because some of them were really low, either audio quality or bit rate or video quality or something like that.
You are discorded.
Yeah, so now that you have your Transcendence, I'd like to see you playing a lot. Your team's actually so dumb. What did you use that for? Like, if you used it to save yourself, you used it a bit early, and your tanks were at a pretty high health pool, weren't they? Your tanks were in no threat. Also, when's the last time you hit tab? So, yeah, you did fuck it up. I was kind of memeing, but you solidly fucked this one up. And if you're going healer to top 500, you're going to have to do better than this. So, like, would you like the list of things that you fucked up on chronologically or alphabetically? Because the list is long. But first of all, your horrendous position caused you to be, scouted. They knew where you were. And even if they hadn't done any scouting, when they arrived at the point, they were like, hey, look, a Zenyatta. And then they, of course, decided to kill you. So the first thing that started is that your lack of positioning allowed them to actually kill you. And then you activated your Transcendence, but when you were above half health. So I would have liked to have seen you try and put a little bit more damage into something before you actually, popped Transcendence yourself to save yourself. But let's assume that you had good positioning and that you tranced to save your tanks. First of all, your tanks are at good health here, and you're going to be want to use your Transcendence primarily when there is no enemy DPS ultimate to counteract to save your tanks. So right before your tank is about to get bursted, you trance to save them, and you kind of turn the tide of the fight. Now, I'm pretty sure it's just luck, but you did, however, manage to land a Discord on the enemy Winston before you popped into trance. However, you're not calling out over comms who got Transcendence. One of the big things that Zenyatta players can get more value out of their Transcendence is you have 6 seconds. And it's not like that 6 seconds wins you the fight. You have 6 seconds to win the fight. So you need to drop a Discord on something, Transcendence, and then make sure that that thing or something else dies during the 6 seconds. Because if not, your Transcendence is going to end, and you will have just delayed the inevitable for 6 seconds. However, the real question here, if you were in the right position, if you were not being the one focused down, and your tanks were being the ones focused down, question, chat, which one of his friendly tanks has ultimate? Does his Winston have ultimate, or does his D.Va have ultimate? If the D.Va is the one being primary down, would you trance to save her if she had bomb? Would you trance to save a Winston who had primal? What is the status of his tank ultimates right now? Do we know? This end doesn't know. Who knows? If only we had some sort of button that we could press in order to figure out what the ult charges of our team is. Crazy. That would be so useful. I really wish Blizzard implemented some way we could see the status of our teammates' ults.
I got Reaper's ult. I got first ult.
And you also didn't spend the last second of your ultimate getting to safety. You're dead.
Nice and nice.
Lol. Hey, your D.Va had tank ult. Look at that. And your Winston. Yeah. Both of your tanks had ultimates. Both of your tanks had ultimates. They're sitting at 5 and 6% respectively. Both of your tanks had ultimates. You should have just died. You should have just died. Honestly, you turning into a glowy boy contributed 0 value. Literally 0 value. Your team would have won this fight even if you had not existed. That's how little value you provided to this fight. I want you to think about that. You used Transcendence, and you provided so little value that you may as well not have existed.
Repetition.
Reaper didn't use ult.
To mastery.
Need healing.
Hey, look,
Yeah,
now you'll get a new
okay,
Transcendence
nice.
you can waste.
They're gonna be
nice of that
they're gonna be
Winston.
close to another May ult, and they're gonna have Reaper ult.
Excuse me for dropping here.
Your mistakes.
This will protect us.
You know, the good thing about being solo healing Zenyatta is that
People
you're just
low,
going
people
to
low.
constantly get
Nice.
your Transcendence. You've almost got another one! Can't wait to see how you
Okay,
waste
monkey
this
half,
one. It's
he's
going to be
hacked.
fun.
Activating self-destruct sequence.
Nice! New Transcendence. Stop, Jayne, you're scaring the Defran viewers that are used to a chill stream. Can't I chill and roast people at the same time? It's all in good fun. I don't mean to be mean by it, but if you're a Master or a Grandmaster or a Top 500, and you've watched the stream before, you know that I become a little bit of an asshole if you submitted a VOD Masters or higher. If you're below Masters and you submit a VOD, I will do my best to try and find something to help you climb. But when you're Masters or above, especially if you've got a name like Healer to Top 500
They still have
and you
Reaper and
fuck
he
up,
still didn't use ult.
and your namesake,
Reaper's
the
still
name
ult.
that you picked on this account tells me that
Zenyatta's
you want it
discorded.
blunt. Because if you're going to make it to Top 500, you can't be making these mistakes. So no, I'm not this rude,
Reaper discorded and
blunt,
hacked.
or cruel to the average viewer, but if you're a Masters and your name is 2 Top 500 in any variation,
They're coming lower, they're coming lower with tanks on point. On point. Fuck! I pressed Q. Nice.
He pressed Q. Interesting statement. I'm going to watch this fight again, and I am going to pause at the exact moment he died.
They're coming lower with tanks on point. On point.
Should he have used trance? You saw it. Should he have used trance? Yes. Vote 1 for yes. Vote 2 for no. Interesting. A little bit of a split here. 33% of people say yes. 64% of the people say no. Interesting. Interesting. And it's shifting more in favor of yes. As time goes on, it's shifting more in favor of yes. Yes, they're because they're on a point, and he's solo healer. They're likely to use ults. Interesting. We're at 41% now. So, I would trance. I'm in the yes party. If you voted yes, I'm going to vote yes that this would have been a decent place to trance. And I'm going to vote this for the following reason. The reason that I would say yes, I'm going to finish the poll just to lock it in place. The reason that I would vote yes and go against the majority is because the tanks themselves are currently off point. They're off the point, yes. However, the Diva's boost is coming back up, and Winston should be returning to the point. But if I die here, the tanks are going to be forced to return to the point, and then they'll likely die before I can respawn with trance. And if I respawn with trance and my tanks are dead, my trance gets no value. So I would trance here for the sole reason that I don't want to get out of sync with my tanks. They should be very quickly returning to the point, and I would much rather get a little bit out of value with this than risk getting no value and falling out of sync with my tanks, because I think they're close to their ultimates, but I'm not sure if they're quite back yet. So, I'm going to vote yes, but this one's really close. If you voted no, you're not necessarily wrong. The reason I voted for this one is because you could make an argument for or against, because the argument against this is simply he's going to trance, but his tanks aren't with him. So I'm voting yes because I am trusting that my tanks are not so dumb that neither of them would be on the point. So what I suspect is going to happen here is that he's going to die. The tanks are going to return to the point within the duration that his trance would have lasted. They will die. Our poor fellow here will respawn with trance. He will have to use trance to contest, and he'll get no value out of it because he desynced with his tanks. That's my guess. Let's see if I'm right or not. Please be right.
I pressed
Winston
you.
arrived. EMP comes out, though. EMP's huge.
Nice.
Pulse bomb came out. Ah, the EMP.
Excellent.
Nice. So if you were in the no party, looks like you're right. Oh, man, it's not over yet. Oh, no, they are turning around. So your Winston had primal, so he was able to actually stay alive until your trance arrived. So yeah, they're like...
Diva really low at the half
whether
pack,
you
really,
voted
really
yes or no, I guess you could make an argument that you were correct. That was a very tricky situation, that one. You still managed to end up... so your Diva ended out of sync, but your Winston did survive long enough to use primal.
Our defenses will double our efforts.
Reaper 1, Reaper 1. Mora.
I can't believe you held them to overtime, solo healing on
Diva's
Zenyatta.
killing
That's
me.
incredible.
Reaper also in the back.
Like, your team's pretty trashed, but it's actually amazing how bad the enemy team is not to have been able to take against a solo healing Zenyatta. That's incredible.
Raising the volume. They're taking the objective. Let's knock them back.
He got 0 value out of it, yes, but he would have gotten... There's no guaranteeing that he would have gotten value out of it if he did trance when he had died, right? So, yes, he got no value out of ulting after he respawned, but the reason that trancing was not necessarily the right answer is because it's not... Even if he had trance before he died, there's no guarantee that that trance would have gotten value either. So there was really no right answer, no wrong answer. It was just an interesting situation to look at. Doesn't the Hacked Sombra pack help a bit? A bit, yes. But a health pack does not replace a healer. Not anymore, at least. And not without, like, not in solo queue. If Jayne sees this, he passes the chat interaction portion of today's stream. Honestly, every single time that I say that, I'm just going to tell you, fuck you, bud. You post that every single day, and I catch it every single day. What do you mean with out of sync? I mean, like, especially in staggers. So if the tanks are on the point and they die, if Zenyatta is in a position where he has to contest, he has to use Transcendence when his tanks are not alive. So one of the main ways that you can make sure you don't get out of sync with one another is by factoring in the tank's abilities, Winston and Divas particularly, to use their ultimates in order to stall for longer or stay alive without your trance. So whenever you're looking to trance, you have to be trance or barrier, or coalescence, I guess, to a lesser extent.
There's a nice reward for bringing you fellas.
And you're playing dive, factor in the status of your tank ults. Because if Winston's about to die, he's probably going to pop primal, especially if he's the only one being focused. If a diva is about to demech, they're either going to bomb offensively or bomb to remech, so you don't have to trance to save them. And if you're playing on a team, this is something that you should probably be coordinating and communicating. Does every 2 CP devolve into a stall game? Yep.
They're playing Mei again.
Attack commencing. Capture objective A.
I excited the enemy.
Right. I want to speed the road again. Maybe not. We're getting walled off on left side. Don't go left. Don't move.
Yeah, left against a Junkrat Mei? Is your team right in the head?
We should try join.
Against a Junkrat Mei, your tanks decide to go left.
Point for that, I guess.
Okay.
Let's get you healed up.
This is just comical. Or are you gonna kill the Junkrat? Please tell me you killed the Junkrat. Where is he? Where is he? Okay, so if your team is doing something pants on head, don't let them don't watch the train crash in slow motion. Please advise them over the comms. Like, there's two different kind of responses to this situation. When you get a team that has no idea how to play the game. When we were talking earlier in the chat section, when I was talking about how I like being flamed, if I was that Reinhardt and the Lucio that was playing with me called me a waste of oxygen because I decided to go left against a mate Junkrat, I'd be like, why would going left against a mate Junkrat be a bad idea? And then hopefully I'd be able to follow A to B to C and figure it out on my own. But if not, I'd be like, no, we need to go left. And then Lucio would flame me harder and be like, we can't go left against mate Junkrat. They're going to be blah, 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 blah. And then I'd be like, oh, that's why. And then I would learn. So the last thing you want to do is like say nothing or passively aggressively bitch in the rant channel on Discord after the game, calling your team members bots. And the only way you're ever going to correct an error like that, especially in a position that is known for its communication, like main tank or main support, is actually advising your team of a plan that's not legitimately suicidal. So you're going to encounter people who are dumb. Okay, so right now I want you to think of this, just how stupid the average person is, okay? Think of like your school, or if you're going to university, think about your class and think about how stupid the average person in that class is. And then I want you to realize that half of everyone is stupider than that. Okay? So there's some pretty fucking stupid people out there. People who can't tie their own shoes without support. And people who put milk on Cheerios instead of Cheerios in milk. Like, there's those kind of people out there. They need you to hold their hand and guide them through how to not being dumb. Okay? You can't just hope your team is not dumb. You have to show them the way of the not dumb.
This will heal you.
I wonder how many people I baited with that cereal comment.
Market on platform.
By the way, if you put cereal and milk, you're a fucking heathen and you can leave the stream right now. Milk on cereal master race.
Get his support, get his support.
Find their weakness and play the objective.
I have too much fucking fun streaming. My god.
Commence attack.
I died, that's pretty bad.
Sorry. I had to take a minute. Okay, we're good.
Okay, I'm gonna speed in after the ball.
My will.
Not a lot you could have done there. You know, anytime that one side uses dramatically more ults than the other side, especially if that side is the side on defense of 2CP, they are the ones who, unless something ridiculous happens, they're the ones who should win. So you invested one relatively quick charging ult, Moira's Coalescence, and they invested Blizzard and Sound Barrier, which are two huge ultimates. So you lost the fight, yes, but on 2CP, it's a fight. 2CP is not a game, and this is actually another really important thing that a lot of people don't understand, is that 2CP is not a game of finding the one fight. It's a game of fighting over and over and over again, of trying to gain ult economy over the opponent. So, you know, forcing the opponent to use more ultimates than you do in order to hold on to the point. And then once you have ult advantage and ult economy, you commit to taking it on that push with the ultimates that you've saved up. So you lost the fight, but this was a step in the right direction to winning the map because they used 2 ults, 2 strong ults, and you only committed 1, pretty quick charging ultimate overall. This is also why it's absolutely terrible.
Fine. I know.
This is like the main reason why you never want to poke at the choke. You always want to do 1 clean attack, reset immediately. Because if the longer you poke, you're giving them more ult charge. And especially on 2CP, even 1 or 2 ults can be enough for them to hold on, even if you have like 5 or 6 ultimates yourself. So this is why, especially on 2CP, poking at the choke is a horrendous idea. When you've lost the fight, you need to reset immediately. Because if they use their ultimates, and they get like 1 or 2 of you, but you stay fighting, then the process of you losing the other 4 members of your team gives the rest of the defenders more ultimates to which hold. So as soon as they've used an ultimate, or as soon as they've won the fight, you try and get out with outfeeding any more ult charge than necessary. It's a game of fight once. Okay, what else did they use? What else did we use to get those out? Regroup, fight again. Regroup, fight again. Regroup, fight again. Regroup, fight again. And it's the reason why you don't poke, you don't look for picks, you just go in, you fight. You regroup, you go in and you fight. You regroup, you go in and you fight. And you do it over and over again until you gain the ult advancement, and then you press W, Q, M1, and you win the game.
Oh, it's frustrating, but we got ults out of them, and that's important.
Does
does
that mean that the next push should be a full push? Well, it depends on the status of the ultimates.
We got ults out of them, and that's important.
Wow, even you're saying it in team comms. Nice. So you've got Bomb. Your monkey used... No, he didn't use Primal. He just switched off Reinhardt. Yeah, this could be a full push. Yeah, this is... Yeah, absolutely. This one could be the push for real. Unfortunately, they have both of their tank ultimates, and I think Riptire? So, it's not like guaranteed to win, but I would definitely make this a real attempt. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, they're gonna have Tire again and Monkey ult like shit stall, but we can live. You guys gonna go left, I guess? We're in. They can't really wall us off now.
Nice.
Okay. Go.
Come on. Ugh, and you comboed Moira with it too. That's too bad. Time to split 1. Resubscribe Prime 4 months in a row. Thanks, buddy. Now, if you are going to beat offensively like this, you don't want to beat and then engage. You want to engage, and as people are getting low, you want to beat, because people can be healed up underneath your barrier, right? It could get your Moira's already fucking got Coalescence, so I don't know why she's coalescencing your monkey when he's got a barrier applied to him. But yeah, you don't beat and engage. Engage with the plan to use beat so that you beat after your tanks have started to take some damage. Because maybe you pull off a clean dive, so clean that you didn't actually need barrier to pull it off. That happens. So don't beat preemptively. It's fine to use beat offensively or trans offensively in certain circumstances, but neither of those ultimates would be used at legitimately the start of the push. You need to wait a couple seconds in order to get the maximum value out of it. Now, there's definitely situations in which you want to start a fight with beat, like beat Blade, for example, to make sure that your Genji doesn't get CC'd, or if he does, he survives. Like, that's a perfectly acceptable use of beat. But most situations will not involve beating to start a fight.
Push, y'all.
It's really dangerous to try and beat Tire. First of all, because the Tire lasts 10 seconds, so your barrier, they can just wait out your barrier with Tire. And the second one is that you jump up and then go down. So if you don't time it right, the barrier or the Tire will kill you midair and you'll lose barrier. So you can't, like, support ults don't really counter Tire, which is another reason why Tire is such a pain in the dick to play against, especially on Anubis defense. Like, neither Barrier nor Zenyatta's Transcendence work really good against Tyre.
Check this out.
And by work really good against, I mean they just straight up don't.
Wait, I can go far Mercy with this.
I'll be watching over you. Damage boost engaged. You needed a doctor? I'm being attacked.
Hey, nice run pharmacy, that's awesome. And you are just the flex healer, aren't you? Nice.
Let's get you back.
Okay, so you've got a... Yeah, you're running Moira Mercy in Masters. Interesting. Not the worst thing ever in Dive, of course. There are situations in which you'd want to run Moira Mercy, and in the case that you have Pharah, this is one of them. So with Moira on the ground, you want to be sticking away... Like, you want to be basically hard-pocketing this Pharah. This is Masters. This isn't Gold. This is Masters.
Into position.
Do you think Tyre should be nerfed? Yes. I think it should at least be dropped down to 6 seconds instead of 10.
Patching you up.
Like, like one of the other things is that I think that I think that ultimates need to be more interactive. I think that ultimates need to be more interactive. I absolutely think so. I think there needs to be counterplay to ultimates, and not every hero on the roster has the ability to counteract Tyre. Right? If you're, you know, a Winston and they use Tyre, other than like killing Junkrat, how do you actually interact with that Tyre? You just kind of like wait for 10 seconds as it picks its target slowly. You know, like even McCree has to land 2 shots on the Tyre to kill it. You know, Widowmaker is probably the best counter to it because you can just one-shot it. But I like when ultimates are more interactive. I'm also kind of the opinion that Moira's damage orb, for example, the only thing that counteracts Moira's damage orb, right, because it goes through barriers, is defense matrix. So unless you have a diva, you have no you have no ability to counter Moira's orbs. So even like from the day Moira was released, I've been saying that you should be able to shoot Moira's orb, and if you deal 70 damage to Moira's orb, then that orb should get reduced in the maximum damage or healing that it can put out by 70. That would make the orbs interactive. You know, and you could buff them to compensate for the interactivity, but I always feel like abilities and ultimates should be interactive for both sides. You know, it feels unfair or stupid to just have no ability to outplay an opponent when they use an ability. It just feels stupid.
Amplify.
Touch from afar.
Healing stream.
Oh, deflect, right?
Reaper's top left with Pharah.
But deflect is definitely more of a survivability
Customer
tool.
skill.
Like, technically it will reflect Moira Orb, but reflect is such an important survivability tool that Genji can't be using it to counter Moira Orb in the same way that you can use defense
Reaper's
matrix
still
to
behind us on bridge. Behind us
counter
on bridge.
Moira Orb over and over and over again. Nice.
Heroes never die.
Honestly, you're getting a lot more value out of Mercy than you were on Lucio and Zenyatta. You've gotten utility out of your res, you're getting benefit out of your damage boost, and your consistent heals, or you're just putting out way more healing. Now, what I would recommend is this Crow's Nest right here, right? So, if Mercy, if you can get Mercy or Sombra onto this Crow's Nest here, you can heal everybody on the point, and you don't have to float around or land on the ground. Anytime that you can land on high ground and heal people is Mercy. Like, people often forget that Mercy herself has benefit from high ground locations because you can heal people below you from the high ground. And it's not like the high ground gives you any more benefit. You can heal just as well from the ground as you can up top. But characters without vertical mobility can't fuck with you up here. They just straight up can't do it. Kind of like how on Hanamura B. So you know how there's like on Hanamura B, there's the main point here, and then there's like the little bridge that you have to cross, and there's these fuck-off lanterns and things, and then there's this giant fuck-off shrine, and there's this like curved high ground piece behind it. If you get a Mercy and just put it right on top of shrine, as the people are respawning, unless they run up the stairs, how in the fuck are they going to dislodge that Mercy? But if you're a Mercy who's standing back here and trying to make space and healing your tanks on the point, they're just going to fucking dive you or shoot you, or you're in the line of sight from their spawn doors. So if you have a Pharah or some way to get onto the high ground, be on the high ground as Mercy. Stop just being some sort of fucking Target practice.
Guide you.
So Reaper's ult.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of value out of Mercy right now.
Heal me more.
And anytime a Winston or a Diva jumps like that, use the Guardian Angel tech to launch yourself at them, and then either get a lot of horizontal mobility, or in order to get altitude. Like if a Diva boosts straight up, and you can Guardian Angel to her, and then you can linger in the sky as you drift back down, and that's equivalent to getting high ground. I'm actually going to see if I can find a really neat Mercy tech that I used to do, just to demonstrate how powerful this is. It's a scrim VOD. Can I find it? Oh, yes, here it is. This Guardian Angel. Now this Guardian Angel tech that I'm about to show you was nerfed, so it's not nearly as bad as what I'm going to demonstrate in this video. And that seems pretty loud. I'm pretty sure chat is about to scream about me about their ears in about 3 seconds. But I want you to check out how fast I move across. Yes, I turned it down. So this is me in a 4.3k scrim, I think.
I'm on Zarya.
This was during Mercy meta.
Zarya's half?
So,
I'm
so I see my tanks there, and I'm pocketing my McCree, and I need to get over to my tanks, right?
I can't get him.
So I go over to try and heal my tanks.
Thank you for the heal.
But then I'm kind of in trouble here, and I need to get back to my team. So I want you to watch how fast I fly across the map here. So I see my Diva. She flew into the air here. See where my Diva is? My Diva is up here. And I use the Guardian Angel tech to just launch myself across the map. And I'm not kidding when I mean
It's always on the jump. Good job.
across the map.
Get him. Nice dead. Thank you for the heal. Andy heals for Mercy. It's always on the jump. Good job.
This got nerfed. But this is what you used to be able to do with Mercy.
I can't get him. Nice dead. Thank you for the heal.
I'm out of there.
It's always on the jump. Good job.
So that's been nerfed, but the same tech exists. It's just slightly less powerful. So yeah, one of the reasons that I was so angry about playing Mercy is because if you remember, she got rebalanced like 7 different times in like a month or something like that. And since I was the Mercy player for my team at that point in time, I had to spend literal hours in custom games learning how to abuse whatever new fucking bug they introduced into Mercy. You know, the different ways to, like the bunny hop thing, where Guardian Angel used to have a cancel distance, right? Where if you Guardian Angel to a target, it would bring you a certain distance away. But then they introduced a bug, whereas if you were closer than that distance to your target, and then you jumped and you activated your Guardian Angel, it would push you away. And it would try and still land you at that same distance. But if you jumped and were close enough to a target and you activated Guardian Angel, it would boost you vertical, like 3 stories. So without having anybody to Guardian Angel, you suddenly gave Mercy the ability to get onto high grounds like Saloon and Bank using a Guardian Angel hop tech. So trying to relearn Mercy so many times was actually almost burnt me out of the game. My team needed a main support player. I was a Lucio player who was put onto Mercy because the meta instead went from Lucio Zen to Mercy Zen. So my team asked me to learn Mercy. And I did, and I had to learn Mercy techs for a month, and I swear to God, I almost quit Overwatch. It was a rough period of time for me. So, is the hop tech still in game? Honestly, I gave up on Mercy. I'll play Mercy occasionally, but I am never going to spend the amount of time that I spent learning Mercy techs unless for some reason I join a team and have to learn those again. Fuck everything about Mercy. The Mercy meta was awful. Hop tech still there? Well, people are telling me that hop tech is still there. If you play Mercy, congratulations, you got a free tip. Mercy, however, is the character that is one of the easiest to get good value out of, though.
Valkyrie online. My
Oh, I'm so sorry, chat. I pulled a T-Tours.
It's charging.
I pulled a T-Tours.
Check me out. Securing the point.
It always happens once a stream, at least.
I need healing.
What site is he using to write on? It's a tablet, and I use a pen. It's not a website. It's a tablet.
Healing stream engaged.
And now you've got Valkyrie. Hey, Durherder, good to see you. Oh, we had a donation, $10 from Brown. Appreciate it, dude. $10 is a lot of money. Can you do a Shanghai Dragons or San Francisco Shock analysis? I don't like either of those teams. And give us an answer of why they keep losing. Enjoy a third of a useless OWL All Access Pass. Well, I appreciate the $10, bud. We did review Shanghai Dragons very recently in their match against the Fuel. And I haven't looked at Shock recently, but I don't have any plans, at least in the next 4 or 5 days, in order to look at those, because I've already planned out looking at the Boston-Houston match, as well as the, words are hard, what the fuck am I trying to say, New York versus London match. Black Jazz with the Prime sub, appreciate it, as well as Durherder hosting with 27 viewers. Thank you so much, friends. Oh, it's called Epic Pen is the actual software.
We can go.
And Snack
Are you
Panther,
stressed, though?
Prime sub, I appreciate it, my friend.
Oh shit, you need to wait for Reinhardt.
Yeah, we've talked the Dreamcasper situation to death. Go check out the very start of this VOD if you want to hear us talk about Dreamcasper.
Reaper might be above.
Care of me.
Survive. Great, great. As long as you survive, if that Mei lands another ice skull, you're fucked. Fuck, you're out of here!
60 seconds remaining.
Nerf this.
Nice Valk, nerd. Respect the lines of sight of the DPS on the other team, right? Especially with a character that can heal for 3 seconds outside of line of sight. There's no excuse for being caught in the LOS of a that may put 3 shots into you. Like your beam heals from forever away. You can be outside of LOS. You can heal around corners and it chains for 3 seconds. No reason for you to have that happen to you.
I need healing.
The N-word.
Sorry,
Nerd.
I died.
Nerds, get out! Ree! Oh yeah, mods. Could you add a Dreamcasper command and just tell people to watch like the first 30 minutes of this VOD? That'd be awesome. And you should add it to the title so that people will actually stop asking. And this is another thing, right? We talked about how dumb your team is. Their Valking Mercy literally died and your team continued to press the attack. Like, yes, it looks like they got Blizzard out at least, but these are the sort of things that can't be happening. Like, they probably happen in Masters, as we're seeing right now, but if you want to make Grandmaster, you need to stop your team from doing shit like this. You died, tell your team you died like an asshole, and tell your team to back up and regroup. You just fed, yeah, they used Mailed, but you also fed the rest of them 5 more people worth of ult charge, ignoring whatever the fuck Moira healed before she died. So you need, if you play a character that is in some sort of shot calling role, support or main tank, you need to stop your team from doing shit like this.
Healing stream engaged.
30 seconds remaining.
You got to the choke point just in time to die like a bitch. Like, come on. Yeah, make sure it's on a 5-second cooldown. It's defaulted to 30.
Starting over from the beginning.
10 seconds remaining.
Time we had is fading.
It's too bad. Good try, though. Decent shot.
GG's.
So, if we're going to be talking about the things that you can do to improve, communication, first and foremost. unless you just kind of want to play 1,000 games at a 55% win rate in order to rank up, you need to be able to control more than just your own gameplay. You can't control the opponents, you can outplay them, but you can hopefully cure your teammates of the dumb by telling them to not be dumb. Now, of course, you'll need to be a little bit more verbose than that, but people can say, "Oh, I only control myself." No. You can share your wisdom with others, and if you watch this stream, I assume you're at least on the upper end of the bell curve, or are on your way there. So yeah, try and take your take your fate into your own hands and make your team less dumb by correcting them on these mistakes. So I have said for a very, very, very long time that my mechanics are absolutely ass. They're garbage. My mechanics, I can't hit the fucking broadside of a barn. I'm ass at this game. I can't aim, and people watch my gameplay sometimes. They're like, how is this guy Grandmaster? Like, I'm Grandmaster because I carry through my voice. I don't really play the game. I just talk about it, and other people win the games for me. So, and this is also one of the reasons why I can all trick to GM on any character, because playing a certain character, if I'm ass at all of them, doesn't really matter. I can still talk about the game to my team. So, people really truly underestimate the value of voice comms, and one of the things that I'm planning on doing is a Winston on controller or some sort of character on controller stream and seeing how high I can get by just shot calling and communicating. I think that's going to be an interesting stream or series of streams, but I also think that if you suck at communication, that's fine. Communication is a skill that needs to be practiced much in the same way that mechanics need to be practiced. Nobody starts, nobody is just born a naturally good Widowmaker. Nobody is born being good at shot calling or communication. You get better through concerted practice.